The economy is already signaling a gradual recovery as growth is headed towards positive territory.
An important milestone in the economic recovery growth plan, that's the description as the 2017 budget is signed into law. Federal government plans to exit petroleum importation by end of 2019. Electricity companies come under the scrutiny of lawmakers. An evasion of company tax, how government loses revenue. A very good evening to you and thanks for joining us on the NTA Network News. I am Isaac Nkuma. The 2017 budget of over 7.44 trillion naira has passed by the National Assembly has been signed into law. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who signed the bill, described it as an important milestone in the nation's economic recovery and growth plan. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The 7.44 trillion naira budget of recovery and growth is over 140 billion naira higher than the amount presented to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari in December last year. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who formally signed the budget, said it provides a clear roadmap towards bringing the economy out of recession and placing it on the path of sustainable and inclusive growth.
Our economy is already signaling a gradual recovery as growth is headed towards positive territory. Our path to progress and abundance is clear. The tools are in place, and the resilient, resourceful, and hardworking Nigerian people are set to go. I have no doubt that by the grace of God, the bleakness of recession is about to witness the uplifting dawn of abundance.
Over 2.1 trillion naira of the budget, the acting president said, goes for capital development, specifically in the provision of critical infrastructure, while 2.98 trillion naira is for recurrent expenditure. He said some recoveries made in the fight against corruption had been included in the budget, whose implementation will trigger activities in the domestic economy for job creation and more opportunities for employment.
We are focusing on 5 key execution priorities, namely 1, stabilizing the macroeconomic environment, 2, agriculture and food security, 3, energy sufficiency, especially in power and petroleum products, 4, improved transportation infrastructure, and 5, industrialization through support for micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. For instance, we are committing over 200 billion to improve transportation infrastructure, such as roads and rail, and over 500 billion for investments in works, power, and housing, and 46 billion for our special economic zone projects to be set up in each geopolitical zone.
While commending the cooperative spirit exhibited by the National Assembly leadership, Professor Osinbajo mandated ministries, departments and agencies to spend more of their budgets on locally produced goods. Senate President Bukola Saraki assured Nigerians that the 2017 budget will meet their aspirations for national growth and development.
If we can maintain the success of 2016, the percentage of capital implementation, that is good for Nigerians. The second most important part, which I really think is key, is the drive for Made in Nigeria to ensure that government agencies give first option to Nigerian companies. That will mean more jobs for our people and also be able to save on foreign exchange. So, and then continue to drive on agriculture and diversification. So it's great news for Nigerians today.
Both the executive and leadership of the National Assembly have agreed to, among others, the reinstatement of budgetary allocations for important projects like the second Niger Bridge, the railways, and Mambila Power Project, while the next appropriation bill is to be submitted by October this year for passage before the end of December. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And almost after 6 months of legislative process, the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, assented to the 2017 budget to give hope to the nation's economic recovery and growth. Finance and economy correspondent Cliff Ayoze gives us an insight to the budget.
The presidential assent to the 2017 budget of 7.441 trillion naira says the state for its implementation to better the lot of Nigerians. 7.298 trillion naira was presented to the National Assembly by the President on 14th of December 2016. But the budget appropriation was approved with an increase of 143 billion naira. The budget passage is predicated on an oil price benchmark of $44.5 per barrel against $42.5 per barrel proposed by the President. Other benchmarks of oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day, exchange rate of 305 naira to a dollar, and GDP growth rate of 2.5% for 2017 were upheld.
Given the volatility in oil price, it would have been better if we had used that of 42.5, because as we speak, we are beginning to notice that crude oil price has been climbing down. It's been on and off.
The National Assembly increased the budget allocation to capital expenditure to 2.174 trillion naira, reflecting an increase of almost 6%, while recurrent expenditure stood at 2.9 trillion naira, with debt servicing increased to almost 1.7 trillion naira and sinking fund at 178 billion naira. Experts say of interest is the increase in statutory transfers covering organs on the first line charge by 3.5% at 434 billion naira. In this regard, the National Assembly increases allocation from 115 billion naira proposed to 125 billion naira, with over 85% representing recurrent expenditure, while the judiciary got 100 billion naira.
A situation where you have about 86 billion, going to overheads alone. Take a second look at that National Assembly budget. It's 6 billion going to overheads alone. Okay. I mean, for me, it's largely disproportionate, where you have 11 billion for travels, you have 6.6 billion, about 6.6 billion for the purchase of vehicles, you have 1.3 billion for refreshments.
Power, works and housing, 529 billion naira, transportation at 262 billion, special intervention 350 billion, defense 140 billion, UBEC 92 billion, water resources 85 billion, and industry, trade and investment with 81 billion naira, ranked top in the allocations aimed at economic diversification. The 2017 budget has a deficit of 2.35 trillion naira, other revenues to 77 billion, with 262 billion naira expected from domestic recoveries, while revenue from FARC at 3.29 trillion naira. But how much the 2017 budget will fast-track the economic recovery and growth plans of government is dependent on funds available and its effective implementation. In Abuja, Cliff Ayoze, NTA News.
And I'm now being joined by Dr. Emeka Okenwo, a development economist. Dr. Okenwo, thanks for coming.
It's an honor to have me. Thank you.
All right, now let's hit it straight from the proposed budget of 7.298 trillion naira to 7.44 trillion naira, passed after almost 6 months of its presentation. What's your take on the budget and its implementation?
There are two ways you need to look at a budget. First, you need to look at it for what it is. It's a financial document that is cast in figures. It's a financial plan. It's not a funding program. That's very important. Second, yes, we're at the stage of the aesthetics of signing. There's a second stage of walking the hard talk. Okay, and I think that's where we are. And in walking that hard talk, it is where you now start looking at your revenue sources. And in a recession, you are not going to be expecting so much so where you are making projections that are a little bit too ambitious. At 2.2 billion for your oil, at 305 against the dollar. But it's okay. That's all okay. So when you hear 7 trillion, I've said this severally, you don't have 7 trillion. You need to look for the 7 trillion. Most of it, or some of it, at least 2 trillion of it, you're going to be borrowing. But for me, it is not even to the extent of what you borrow or how you borrow or what you want to spend, but what you're spending on when you are looking at now stimulating your local economy. It's very key that you appreciate and realize that over 90% of everything you're going to be doing or spending on your capital runs under one word: steel and its allied products. And these are all dollar-based.
All right, now all dollar-based. You know, the budget was proposed on the predicated crude oil benchmark of $44.5 against the 42.5 proposed, and we know what's happening at the international crude oil market.
I feel so sad. I feel so very sad when I need to talk about crude oil and talk about Nigeria. It's such a demeaning, a saddening situation that after so many years in producing oil. I mean, look at Niger, our neighbor. The first crude oil hole they hit, they started thinking about refining it. Okay, and this is one product that runs the engine of our economy. It's a paradox, but it's true. In other climes, you're talking about probably diesel because of heavy industries. But in our own economy, it's PMS. And then what we do is we produce all this crude oil, all of it, and then we still have a production sharing formula that allows out of these 2.2 billion barrels, less than a quarter of that, 446 or 445,000 barrels for your local refinery, and a lot of it tied, to off-taker projects where people now take it and then bring back crude for you. So how are you going to be industrializing where you're not dealing with your petrochemicals? How are you going to be industrializing where you're not also now looking at the other values that can come out of your crude? So each time somebody says you're going to be selling a barrel of crude oil for whatever, even if it's $10, if we were value processing, a barrel of crude oil, even if we're producing it at $50 or $10, it wouldn't matter. What would have mattered is that you would have been able to now value process it or stretch it in such a way that you can now begin to now introduce what they call real subsidies. And real subsidies are production-based subsidies.
Resubsidizing, but then now this is what we have on the table. Now with the year at the 6th month, what do you think should be the government's priorities when it comes to implementation, considering that the capital expenditure is only...
If the reverse was the case, if we had capital at 70 and we had recurrent at 30, I would say to you, Nkuma, we could take a run for this. Government says, well, we're going to be focusing on agriculture as a major means of diversifying our economy. 80% of our people live in the rural areas and are subsisting farmers. How much have you put into your agriculture? And it is just not putting money into your agriculture. How much have you been able to localize, to localize your agricultural production process to the extent that from research, to farm gate, from farm gate to processing and to market, you have a lot of local inputs. So what am I trying to say here? You have solid minerals, okay, right. So, but let us be hopeful. It's very important that we're encouraging Nigerians, but we need to pray very hard for this budget to make an impact in our lives.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emeka Okengwu. I've been speaking to Dr. Emeka Okengwu, a development economist. Thank you. Now moving on with the news, the federal government seeks to change the current landscape of domestic refining in Nigeria by setting a target to exit product importation by the end of 2019. This commitment was given by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachukwu, when he appeared before the Senate Joint Committee on Petroleum Resources and ways to finding lasting solution to petroleum product supply challenges in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Zumba reports.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources explained that in order to exit product importation by 2019, there is the need to evolve a strategy that addresses operational challenges. He cited issues of refurbishing the refineries to nameplate capacity through the injection of private sector partner financing.
But we want to build refineries, build them modular, all that, just to find out what the difficulties are, because we have a duty to help them, help us get to that finish line. And I was very glad for Dangote to be saying that they're targeting meeting the 2019 timeline. Fantastic, because that will cover a big area of my worry, which is the gap between the NPC refinery.
The committee chairman, Kabir Marafa, said it is a realizable goal and that the committee will encourage the initiative. On the issue of dismantling all refineries, the chairman had a different opinion.
Now is a brown field. That is an old refinery that is working somewhere, but it's not working fully well. They will now dismantle the refinery, come and assemble it side by side, the new Kaduna refinery, or the old Kaduna refinery. And that is what we told them. That is not acceptable by the Senate.
In another development, the Committee on Legislative Compliance has urged the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Prison Service and Federal Fire Service to ensure that the 2017 recruitment is conducted in an orderly manner.
They've been able to take 881, so it's a balance of 1,102. And we heard from the Director Secretary of the Board that once they have their budget, there will be recruitment across the services.
As we speak, we have the number of applicants state by state to the last minute as we sit here.
The exercise is a continuation of that of 2014. From the National Assembly, Ifani Izumba, NT News.
Still staying with the legislature, the House Committee on Power has set up a 5-month subcommittee to look into some discrepancies observed in the implementation of the 2016 budget by two agencies, Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading Company and the Transmission Company of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa has details.
The Committee on Power observed that the Managing Director of Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, NBET, Marilyn Amobi, breached the law in her operations. According to the members, there are discrepancies in expenditure, overhead and personnel cost, and the company had digressed from its original mandate.
41% embed was mocked up. And I can remember that when we came to your establishment for the first time, we actually told you and warned you the implications of monies being mocked up from federal agency that federal government has appropriated or you've generated. So this is a serious offense. It negates the Fiscal Responsibility Act and the constitutional powers behind even the budget that has been signed, which is an act of the National Assembly.
The management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, on the other hand, was told to produce documents explaining the procurement of 2 billion naira instead of approved 1 billion naira, change of nomenclature, and
Certainly not. These are my rights as a citizen of Nigeria. It is the failure of the state to deliver on these essentials of life and livelihood that compels our people to run to their tribal and religious camps to seek succor by way of agitation.
Emphasizing the role of the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, as well as the civil society, the acting president urges them to live up to their responsibilities.
And I believe that these are challenging times and at the same time, times for great opportunity for those of us who not only have to think through these problems, but have to solve the problems. And of course, our society relies a great deal on our legal teachers, on our law teachers, to find answers to these issues, and not just to find answers to these issues, but to teach a new generation of students the types of problems and issues that are relevant to their own time.
The Buhari administration, he says, is doing well in addressing the challenges through its social investment program, but can still do more. Governor Willie Obiano also asked for more from the judiciary.
We arrest very notorious criminals, we charge them to court, they are released on bail. They go back to commit the same crime or even fight the people that arrested them. I spend money and resources, arrest them again, charge them to court, they are released on bail.
Political will and creative solutions must be surmounted to devise lasting solutions to these problems. Undoubtedly, the instrumentality of law, whether in the form of legislation, civil rights and abilities, or the common law, is a sine qua non to such initiative.
The acting president received the Distinguished Merit Award of the Nigerian Law Teachers Association for contributions to the law profession and the nation. He was also honored by the university. In Oka, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Up ahead, support comes for Future Assured program from China, plus Nigeria and Niger collaborate on digitization. Stay with us after this time out.
Hello, I just got back from the States and I need a SIM so I can have a number.
Bonus you need.
What's nyafu?
If you join them to you go enjoy bonus to bracket.
What's bracket?
See, any bonus we then give you, you go fit to do anything where you like with them, chatting, browsing, texting, calling to any network for Nigeria, and no condition at all. Completely free dot. Everything in Baku.
What's Baku?
If you buy the recharge card 100 naira, they will give you 600 naira. If you call the charge 200 naira, as a big baby to you is now, they will give you 1,200 naira.
Hey, brother, show me the way now.
Get an MTN SIM, register it, and get 6 times of all your recharges every time you recharge, and much more.
MTN, everywhere you go.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Hey, great news! Oral-B has just been voted Kudos #1 quality toothpaste of 2017 by you. So even though times are hard, as a mother, you know that Oral-B is good for your family's oral health because they deserve the best. It's great value because it protects you against tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier and stronger teeth in 1 week.
Hey, now who they here? My name now Mr. Shortcut. I dey mind my money. Now cheap one I dey buy. Standard, we sign. Now to buy cheap one. Hey, now one kind cable for my yard. A cheap building material where we take build my office. I think say I dey save money. Office building collapse and fire burn my house.
You don't see what happened to Mr. Shortcut? Well, Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, don't ready for action and say enough of pain, loss and wastage. And if you see product where no dey correct, call the SON office way near you or SON help desk. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
Helen! Your kitchen gets 10 out of 10. Thank you. This also gets a 10. Should we see the toilet now?
Sure.
This gets just 1.
It is clean.
But not perfect 10.
Better than my detergent and bleach? Impossible.
Challenge? Try Apex compared to bleach and detergent. Apex sticker formulation removes yellow stains times better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet.
Wow.
Now you also take that?
Perfect 10x challenge.
Also available in 200 ml pack for 200 naira only.
The Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism called for memoranda and invitation to a one-day public hearing on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. Date, Thursday, June 15, 2017. Venue, Senate Conference Room 022, Ground Floor, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. The underlisted institutions are requested to submit memoranda and be present at the public hearing. The memoranda should be in 15 hard copies and a soft copy and submitted to the Chairman, Senate Committee on Culture and Tourism, Room SP 45 Basement, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. For more enquiries, contact the committee clerk, Senator Matthew A. Uwoyide, Chairman, Announcer.
Over the last few months, there has been a resurgence of meningitis in Nigeria. Meningitis is a serious disease that is preventable, that is treatable. The symptoms of meningitis include fever, headache, neck pain, neck stiffness, vomiting, skin rash, convulsion, undue sensitivity to light, coma, and it could lead to death.
But we can all protect ourselves from meningitis.
The most important thing you should do is get vaccinated.
Cover your nose and mouth when you sneeze and cough.
Avoid contact with infected people. Keep your surroundings and surfaces clean.
Do not share personal items.
Wash your hands regularly and take care of personal hygiene. Avoid crowded areas. Ensure proper ventilation at all times.
Please go to the nearest clinic if you're concerned that you or your child may have meningitis.
All of us should work together and stop the spread of meningitis in Nigeria. You too can fight meningitis.
Together, we all can fight meningitis.
This public message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Health and Dettol.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, What the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant. To achieve our creed as we promise, we shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Glad you stayed. The humanitarian activities of the Future Assured program of the wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, of supporting women and children received a boost from the People's Republic of China. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that a check of 60 million naira was formally presented to the wife of the President in support of the program.
Receiving the check of 60 million naira support from the People's Republic of China through the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Jiu Pinjian, who was represented by the Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. Ling Jing, the wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Dr. Hajosani, expressed delight with the gesture, adding that this is another opportunity for strengthening the activities of Future Assured in improving the lives of women, children, and other vulnerable groups, especially those affected by the insurgency in the Northeast.
Today is a happy day for us. This is something that has added value to the work she's doing and what we are doing under Future Assured program. So we appreciate this kind of gesture.
We hope that we can nurture further cooperation in all fields, so our peoples, the peoples at the grassroots, can benefit more.
The wife of the President said she will not relent in calling well-meaning Nigerians and other NGOs in supporting these displaced people.
We hope other well-meaning Nigerians, both at national and international, will come to continue to support what Her Excellency is doing so that she will continue to do the good work under the Future Assured program.
From the State House, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Nigeria has promised to assist neighboring Niger Republic to drive its digital switchover project. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, made the promise in Abuja when he granted audience to the Minister of Communication from Niger, Madam Kobara Sani. Anthony Forsen has the report.
The ongoing digital switchover project has a uniform design for West Africa, and Nigeria's platform is designed to accommodate other West African countries. To this end, Kobara Sani's visit to Nigeria to solicit support and a possible buy-in into the Nigerian standard wouldn't have come at a better time than now. It is against this background that the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, wasted no time in admitting that Nigeria will make available to Niger the legal framework for its DSO project.
We are ready to cooperate. We are ready to assist our sister country, and we are going to make available to them the legal framework which we have adopted in Nigeria, which is the white paper on digitalization. We hope it will be going to be very useful to them. We will also ensure that before they leave, they interact with both the signal distributors, the set-top box manufacturers, and also the content providers.
The minister said Nigeria has successfully switched over last year, working to expand its reach and coverage. The Nigerian minister, who had earlier told the minister that she was in Nigeria to learn how Nigeria achieved its successful switchover, said Nigeria is way ahead of other African countries, hence the need for others to learn from Nigeria. Lai Mohammed later took his Nigerian counterpart and her entourage on a tour of Pinnacle facilities, which include the control room and the transmission station. At the ITS and Digital Television Center, the delegation were taken round where they were briefed on how the facilities have been upgraded to meet the project target.
Niger has come to Nigeria to seek assistance, seek guidance, and advice on how to go about digitization.
Is an indication of how far Nigeria has gone in terms of our digital switchover. The fact that people are coming to share experiences with us. As I'm talking to you, a delegation is arriving from Ethiopia also this week, also to come and study the Nigerian process. So we have done a lot in terms of our process.
Nigeria and other ECOWAS member states have agreed to adopt a common minimum standard for set-top boxes in the sub-region. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority has been commended for complying with the provision of the Federal Character Commission Act in its nominal role. The NTA management received the commendation from the Senate Committee on Federal Character when it appeared before it to provide explanations on personnel recruitment. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The Senate Committee on Federal Character has the mandate of ensuring fair distribution of personnel across the country in all the government ministries, departments and agencies. After a thorough examination of the documents presented and oral submission by the Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, relating to the nominal role, last recruitment, which was in 2013, and the involvement of the Ministry of Information and the Federal Character Commission in the whole exercise, the Senate Committee applauded the NTA for a fair distribution of personnel in the authority across the country. It urged the NTA management to consider in its future recruitments some states with shortfalls.
Very clear record of the nominal law. Let me also say that I don't see anything so alarming at all in the distribution of your personnel across the country.
Compared to some of the figures we have seen in other universities, US, that's a very fair distribution of staffing position of
The Director General of NTA also explained that necessary arrangements have been concluded with relevant authorities to fill existing vacancies.
Not to the office of the head of service to get the approval from the president. The approval was duly granted, but to date, we have not received the approval of the budget office.
He further assured the National Assembly of the commitment of the NTA towards the unity, peace and progress of the nation. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And moving on to agriculture now, as Nigeria is making progress towards penetrating more international commodity markets for exports of agricultural produce, issues relating to standard and packaging remain a major concern. To this end, Nigeria, in collaboration with China's government, has launched an awareness campaign on effects of aflatoxin and mycotoxin on crops. Musa Babaliu reports.
Informal commodity markets like this are found in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, and agricultural produce consists of over 70% of goods being sold in the markets. The market remains source of food items for local consumption and for export, despite the fact that quality and packaging count less. Investigations show that perishable items, especially vegetables, beef and fish products, are often exposed to high temperature or stored in unhygienic conditions in and within the informal markets.
What is that thing that says contaminating to these foods that we eat and is dangerous to our health? We need to know the breakdown so that we take precaution next time.
The Ministry of Agriculture deemed it necessary to sensitize farmers, marketmen and women on the global standard of packaging, storing and selling of perishable food items. Mycotoxin and aflatoxin are top on the agenda.
So it's an issue at the export desk, and the international community are on the lookout that any commodity that Nigeria exports does not contain aflatoxin.
It poses severe threats to 25% of the world's food and oil crops.
Nigeria is also sensitizing the marketers on African Union guidelines on the advantages and use of jute bags for storing of produce before exports. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
It's June 12th, a watershed in Nigeria's political history. Let's link up with Jennifer to tell us about the day in Lagos. Hello, Jennifer. It's good to see you.
To see you too, Isaac. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. 24 years after the annulment of the presidential election in Nigeria on June 12, 1993, stakeholders in the democratic project have called for the immortalization of late Chief MKO Abiola, the standard bearer of the Social Democratic Party of Nigeria in the presidential election. This was at the commemoration of the annulment of the election. Tunde Tai was at the event in Lagos reports.
In commemoration of the day, some Nigerians gathered at his residence in Lagos, where issues that late Chief MKO Abiola advocated while he was alive were raised. Speakers at the event called for the restructuring of the country and to ensure that the struggle for good governance and social justice, which Chief MKO Abiola stood for, must be the nation's guiding light.
June 12 was a seed for Nigeria's democracy. It was a moment we missed as a people to unite as a nation.
We are supposed to declare the June 12 as Democratic Day. If all these things are even done, it is even the gateway for us to see that people deal with fairness.
One of the sons of Chief MKO Abiola, Abdul Mumuni Abiola, however, said it would be better if those principles for which his late father stood for are implemented for the country.
If they really wanted to do something for my father, the best thing they can do is to, they can start by helping the people that voted for my father to even begin with. You know, those things will go a long way. Do something for education, sports.
Organizers of the event call on the Nigerian government to name one of the national monuments in honor of the late Chief MKO Abiola. High point of the event was the laying of wreath and prayers at late Chief MKO Abiola graveside. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Now to crime and security. The thrilling and final arrest of most wanted kidnap suspect Chukwudi Onwamadike, popularly known as Evans, last weekend has brought renewed hope on the ability of the Nigerian police and other security agencies in the country to nip crimes in the bud. Doyi Deya in this special report takes a look at the exploit of the 36-year-old most wealthy kidnapper who has been terrorizing Nigerians for so long while evading the security agents.
The 36-year-old Chukwudi Dumeme Onwamadike, popularly known as Evans, hails from Nnewi in Nnewi North local government area of Anambra State. He first came to limelight as a desperado in 2008 after a failed kidnap attempt on Chief Vincent Obianudo, who is the chairman of the Young Shagro Motors.
In this process, the police band attached to Chief Vincent foiled the attack, and the process killed 3 members of the Evans group, but he lost his life at the end of the day.
With whooping ransom of not less than $1 million on each of his victims, he is said to be one of the richest suspects.
A vicious and highly organized kidnap for ransom syndicate gang leader, terrorizing and responsible for several kidnaps of notable and prominent Nigerians in Lagos State, including some western parts of the country.
One unique feature of this notorious suspect is that he never reduced his ransom until relatives are able to meet his demand.
It's the one that got the victim, and they bring it to the house actually take care of the man.
Evan and his gang member keep their victim in a location that has been discovered by the joint police forces at number 21 Prophet Asaide Close, New Igado, Lagos State, until ransom is paid. He keeps his victim for up to 6 to 7 months. He takes the last couple before he releases the victims.
Since his operation is targeted at the influential and very important personalities, Evans worked with eye surveillance gadgets, which makes it very easy to track his victims, blocking all chances of security operatives to track him down. As a cross-border crime suspect, Chukwudi Onwamadike, aka Evans, is rated amongst most wanted suspects by the Nigerian police force. His huge investment in real estate, both home and abroad, speaks volume of his rating as one of Nigeria's richest crime suspects.
most of the victims pays in dollar, with a list of $1 million.
I know about Danodete. This amount of ransom we collected is from $1 million.
He was arrested at one of his exotic apartments in Magodo area of Lagos on Saturday, 10th of June, after a gun battle. In Lagos, Dori Dia, NTA News.
And to health, participants of Maternal Awareness Campaign have called for concerted efforts towards reducing maternal mortality to the barest minimum in Nigeria. This, they say, require prompt action and collaboration by government, caregivers, and the people. They made the call at the launch of a campaign in Lagos to end maternal mortality. Joy Ken Abakboya has details.
Maternal mortality, according to experts, is the death of a woman during pregnancy or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of duration or management. However, statistics reveal that in Nigeria, a woman dies every 15 minutes due to childbirth complications, making the country the second largest contributor to maternal mortality rate globally. This not too pleasant statistics informed the new strategy of aggressive awareness campaign among Nigerians to reduce maternal mortality.
It's very important for every woman to have some sort of antenatal care, where they have their blood sugar checked on a regular basis, their blood pressure checked, they have blood tests to see if they're anemic or not.
It's something that somebody should focus on, whether government, private individual, and then all that are involved, the women should also be part of the initiative to make this go away.
The cause championed by the ACT Foundation is to promote awareness on the issue, which is attributed to medical ignorance and inadequate care for pregnant women.
With the right information, the right orientation, maternal mortality can be prevented, it can be avoided, and of course it can be reduced.
Every pregnant woman out there or about to get pregnant to know what her roles in terms of taking care of herself before and during pregnancy.
The End Maternal Mortality campaign will be taken across the 36 states of the Federation. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
You're still watching the NTA Network News from the Lagos Network Center. We'll be joining Isaac after these messages in Abuja. Stay tuned.
Let's pepper them. So tell somebody to tell everybody to come join Maya, baby. And they bring too much sauce. Grow Mega Music Talk. It's gonna be a mad over your 10. Yo, we are showstoppers.
I'm your host for the biggest show ever.
If you miss the stuff, you're gonna miss everything. So join me, guys. Let's turn up.
We'll be storming across Nigeria. I won't be anywhere else.
Everyone who is anyone is going to be there.
All Nigeria's A-list musicians.
One big stage.
Live and direct.
Glow Mega Music Tour all over Nigeria.
So watch out because we dey come. Let's go!
It's the Glow Mega Music Tour with your favorite anchors and special guest stars. It's gonna be untamed. Text music and your preferred location to 207. Use 2,000 Naira Glow airtime in 1 month to stand in line for your free ticket. So what are you waiting for? The Glow Mega Music Tour.
Glow Unlimited. The Debt Management Office, DMO, on behalf of the Federal Government of Nigeria, is offering the general public an opportunity to invest and contribute to national development through the Federal Government of Nigeria's Savings Bond. Investment in the FGN Savings Bond will lead to poverty reduction and create employment opportunities. FGN Savings Bond have attractive features: guaranteed fixed income, quarterly interest payment, use of investment as collateral for loans, can be sold at the secondary market, good for savings towards school fees, marriage and house projects. Please visit www.dmo.gov.ng, your stockbroker or financial advisor. FGN Savings Bond for national development. This message is from the Debt Management Office.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
This is to remind all members of the public that the verification of the current status of all allottees of land in the National Sites and Services Scheme at Okuzu and Umunya, Anambra State, is still going on and shall be concluded on the scheduled date of Monday, 19th June 2017, without extension. By this notice, all allottees of land in the scheme who have not come forward for verification of the status are hereby invited to come with relevant documents and proof of allocation for verification. The exercise continues as follows. Date, Monday, 22nd May 2017 to Monday, 19th June 2017. Weekdays only. Time, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Venues, Anambra State, Conference Hall, Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Lands and Housing Unit, Field Headquarters, Kilometer 45, Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, Government House Area, Oka and Abuja FCT, Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Housing Block, Land and Housing Development Department, Room A128, First Floor, Mabushi, Abuja. Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
Welcome back. Abuja is set to host the first West African Mining Summit, kicking off tomorrow as financial development institutions predict economic growth in Africa to reach 3.4% in 2017 and 4.3% in 2018. Details on business news with Amina Nojim.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us on the Business News segment. More than 150 firms and top-level participants in the mining industry have arrived at Abuja, the nation's capital, preparatory to the first West Africa Construction and Mining Summit, which coincides with the Nigerian National Mining Summit. The summit, with the theme Unearthing Nigeria's Mining Sector, is apt as the country is set to diversify her economy. The conference will serve as a platform for stakeholders to brainstorm on business prospects as well as displaying leading mining technology. In another development, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, will this week begin to mop up 1.23 trillion naira through the next 12 weeks. The bank disclosed this in its third quarterly Treasury bills issuance program released at the close of last week. The program revealed that the CBN will issue Treasury bills worth 1.2 trillion naira from Wednesday, June 15th to Thursday, August 31st. This will bring the total outstanding bills to 3.7 trillion naira by the end of August. The paper to be issued comprises 226.64 billion naira worth 91 days bills, 311.3 billion naira worth 182-day bills, and 698.6 billion naira worth 364-day bills. 369.8 billion naira will be issued in the last 2 weeks of June by the CBN, comprising 67.1 billion naira worth of 91-day bills, 78.1 billion naira worth 182-day bills, and 224.6 billion naira worth 364-day bills. 382 billion naira worth of bills, comprising 71.8 billion naira worth of 91-day bills, 61.2 billion naira worth 182-day bills. In August, the CBN plans to issue 484.6 billion naira worth of bills, comprising 87.6 billion naira worth of 91-day bills, 172 billion naira worth 182-day bills, and 225 billion naira worth 364-day bills. The Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) on Monday stated that no fewer than 31 ships laden with petroleum products, food items and other foods were expected to arrive at Apapa and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos from June 12 to June 23. The NPA stated this in its shipping position publication in Lagos. The authority noted that ships contained bulk wheat, bulk fertilizer, general cargo, frozen fish, bulk coke, bulk sugar, base oil, bulk gas, bulk gypsum, petroleum and containers laden with goods. And now a quick look at details of tradings on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And in other developments, the Africa Capacity Building Foundation, the continent's leading capacity development institution, has pledged to use its expertise to help regional economic communities achieve their objective of integrating Africa and leveraging its sustainable development. Executive Secretary of the Foundation, Professor Emmanuel Nnadozie, said the RECs, if well capacitated, would be able to effectively coordinate the implementation of the first 10 years of the action plan of the African Nations Agenda 2063 and achieve the sustainable development goals. Professor Nnadozie said the ACBF's assistance to the communities would be in collaboration with partners such as the new Partnership for Africa's Development Agency and the International Institution for Democratic and Electoral Assistance.
We were working on this Agenda 2063. These issues were on our minds. We made sure that it was not something like the other things, so that it wouldn't be something that replaces NEPAD or replaces African peer review mechanism or replaces the agendas of the regional economic communities. Instead, we say this should be something that brings together all these things, so that we use those decisions and those agreements as milestones.
And that's it on Business News.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has approved the Code of Conduct Bureau Board with Dr. Mohammed Issa as chairman, while Murtala Kankea, Emmanuel Atta, Danjuma Sado, Ubolo Panachi, Ken Madaki Alkali, Professor S.F. Ogundare, Honorable Ganyu Hamzat, Saad Abubakar and Dr. Vincent Mwale are members. A statement by the Director of Press Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mohammed Nakoji, says the appointment, which is for the first term of 5 years, is subject to confirmation by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We've got a beat on spot just ahead. Stay with us.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped, we are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime, we bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of Made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC as an agency is indeed doing so much to protect the health of our nation. I urge everyone to support NAFDAC in ridding the country of fake drugs and unwholesome products.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Thanks for rejoining us. Sports Update is up next with Deinde Sani.